It seems like year after year, we get an endless supply of Metroidvanias that don't really do or have anything special that truly makes them stand out from the rest. And for this reason, I find it hard at times to really get invested into one when I pick it up. But after playing and beating Ender Magnolia, this is easily one of my favorite Metroidvanias I've ever played, which is why with some light spoilers, I am very excited to talk about this game. It just does everything right and created an experience that despite a few hiccups I ran into, it only continued to get better with each passing hour thanks to not only the stellar gameplay, but how amazing the level design works with that gameplay throughout this world of fumes and homunculus. Which, the reason why I say this is because of how fast you feel that progression through the main protagonist Lilac. Unlike a lot of these style of games where the progression can feel very slow at times, Ender Magnolia is the exact opposite of those games. Within the first hour, you have dashing and double jumping. In the second hour, you have a variety of range and melee abilities. In the third hour, you unlock fast travel and new movement options. It's this progression that makes the game constantly feel fresh and exciting, because you already know each new area is built around your total evolving toolset. Which is why I found myself so hooked on this game from the start. The way these areas kept evolving so rapidly and making me think about how to use all the tools available to me just never got old. Which the movement options, by the way, that you use to get around this world are so well done. They range from riding a giant wolf to grappling with a tiny spider. And one of the most interesting things about the movement is how they designed the world to basically not break with some of the more aggressive options you unlock. What I mean when I say this is later on in the game, you get the ability to do a power jump off the ground and a power dash off the walls, which these allow you to skip a lot of obstacles. And as I first experienced these abilities as I unlocked them, I wondered how the hell they were going to plan for these things with the level design without making it feel terrible and boring, because how are abilities like the grapple going to be relevant if I could just soar up into the air? Well, they found a way to not only do it, but make it so all of the abilities stayed relevant pretty much to the very end of the game without any of it feeling slapped on. It really was impressive, so if at any point you're worried about the level design falling off in this game, trust me when I say it simply does it. It only evolves and gets better, but there's more to the gameplay than just jumping around and having a good time. There's also this little thing called combat in the game, which is also very good. So the combat revolves around these homunculus you gather as you make your way through the game. Now each one of these homunculus have 3 different abilities you can choose from. So for example, Nola, which is the first homunculus you get in the game, starts off with a sword, but as you make your way through the game, through an upgrade system, you can unlock a scythe and an axe, which these abilities can then be upgraded even further to have things like longer combos and more damage. Then on top of that, you unlock these special abilities known as Attuner Arts that can unleash some insanely useful special moves like magical tornadoes that blast in all directions. So in total, you're looking at over 40 abilities at your disposal between all of the homunculus you gather as you make your way through the game, since even the movement options you unlock can also be used in combat as well, which these wide set of abilities allow for you to get pretty creative with your builds. As I made my way through the game, I ended up focusing on a status dealing build, so I not only used homunculus abilities that dealt status effects like Blaze, Freeze, and Shock, I also equipped items to help support this playstyle, because you see, not only do you have your basic equipable items like bracelets that improve your stats, you also have these relics that come in a wide variety that give all sorts of different effects. So I used relics that improved my defenses and increased the damage of my status effects, which by the way, relics can also be upgraded as well to take up less slots or improve their effects. But anyway, I really had a blast using this build, especially against the various bosses you run into throughout the game. They're all pretty damn well designed, but don't think you're locked into anything when I say build. When you're at the various resting spots scattered around the map, you can switch out your homunculus abilities and whatever relics and equipment you have equipped when you want to try something new. Also, you can do a variety of other things here, like tweaking various difficulty settings to what fits you, or watch cutscenes you have unlocked throughout your playthrough, which, speaking of cutscenes, I really liked the story, which I should give a little disclaimer here. I have never played Ender Lilies, which I believe Ender Magnolia is the sequel to that game, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because this story that I enjoyed so much, while it can be obscure at times in its storytelling, I never felt like I was lost or missing something. While I'm sure playing the first game would give some context on various story beats in the game, I never felt I was being punished for not playing the first game. Everything story-wise, from chatting with your homunculus companions at rest stops to these dreamlike cutscenes, were simply enjoyable, and I won't say anything else since I don't want to spoil any more of the story than I have to, which paired with a truly stunning art style and the large haunting soundtrack as you make your way through the game, I don't know how you couldn't enjoy this, though like I said at the beginning, there are a few hiccups that I did have a few issues with. First off, there are these owl homunculus that basically function on autopilot. You press the button, then they come out and do their thing. So what's my problem? Basically, anytime you had a cutscene or used a rest zone, they would undeploy and you would have to redeploy them. This is a nitpick, but I just found it annoying to have to do this every time after a boss cutscene or returning to a rest stop to reset enemies or resupply my health items in classic Souls fashion. Next, while you do have this large variety of abilities from the various homunculus, you can only equip up to 4 abilities at a time, which for the most part I do find just fine, but you can only equip a single ability at a time from an individual homunculus. I think it would have been cool if we could have equipped multiple abilities from a single homunculus. I just feel like it would have really expanded the possible playstyles even further, like running around with Nola's sword, axe, and scythe abilities would have been sick. Finally, these rats. I hate these rats. These rats are the hardest enemies in the entire game, and no one is going to change my mind on that. Though, to get back to a more positive note, my performance on the PS5 throughout my 20 plus hours I spent in the game were flawless with no hiccups or glitches. But with all that said, Ender Magnolia is one of those games that I wasn't really sure I would enjoy, but it ended up being such a fantastic experience that it's probably going to stick with me for quite a while, which is why I, without a doubt in my mind, can't recommend this game to all of you enough.